The sacred shave, a twist in tradition. The wedding preparations were in full swing in the small, serene village where Amara lived. The courtyard buzzed with excitement, laughter, and the aroma of marigold garlands. Amara, a 20-year-old bride-to-be, sat quietly on a low stool in the center of the room, her long, jet-black hair cascading down her back like a river of silk. Her hair was her pride, the envy of many in the village, and the symbol of her youth and beauty. But today, it would all be taken away in the name of tradition. The village's ancient wedding rituals required brides to shave their heads completely as a sign of purity and surrender before entering married life. Though she had known about this since she was a child, Amara felt her heart sinking as the moment drew near. Her mother, Sita, stood beside her, silently unbraiding her thick, glossy hair with trembling fingers. "It's time, my dear," her mother whispered, her voice betraying a mix of pride and sorrow. Amara nodded, trying to steady her emotions, but tears pricked her eyes. She knew this was not just about hair, it was about leaving behind her old life and stepping into an unknown future. The village barber, an elderly man with decades of experience in this ritual, entered the room with his tools, a sharp pair of scissors, a bowl of water, and a straight razor. The crowd of women gathered around Amara murmured blessings as the barber stepped forward. "Sit still, child," he said softly, lifting the scissors. The first snip of her hair was almost deafening in the silence. Amara felt the pull as the blades severed her thick braid, and with a final cut, the heavy braid was placed on a ceremonial plate. Gasps filled the room as the women admired the once beautiful braid now reduced to an offering. The barber dampened her remaining hair, running his hands gently over her scalp. The cool water trickled down her neck, making her shiver. He picked up the straight razor, the light catching its sharp edge, and positioned himself behind her. "Lower your head," he instructed. Amara obeyed, her chin touching her chest. She closed her eyes tightly as the razor made its first stroke at the nape of her neck. The sound of scraping filled the room, followed by the soft thud of loose hair falling to the ground. The sensation of the razor against her scalp was foreign, almost electric. She felt every stroke as the barber worked methodically, stripping away the thick tufts of hair that had defined her for so long. Her heart pounded as the pile of hair on the floor grew larger, a physical reminder of what she was losing. Her mother dabbed her eyes with the edge of her sari, unable to watch as her daughter's transformation unfolded. Amara, too, felt tears rolling down her cheeks, but she remained still, knowing she couldn't stop now. The barber moved to the top of her head, carefully gliding the razor over her crown. The women murmured blessings, their voices mingling with the rhythmic scraping of the razor. Amara felt a mixture of emotions: loss, vulnerability, and strangely, a sense of liberation. When the barber reached her temples, he gently tilted her head to the side. The razor moved with precision, removing the last few strands clinging stubbornly to her scalp. With a final stroke, the ritual was complete. The barber wiped her head with a damp cloth, leaving her scalp smooth and shining. He applied a fragrant oil, massaging it in to soothe her skin. Amara opened her eyes slowly, feeling the weight of the transformation. Her reflection in a small mirror was almost unrecognizable. A bald woman with tear-streaked cheeks and wide, expressive eyes stared back at her. The women around her clapped and offered blessings, but Amara felt a lump in her throat. She touched her bare scalp, her fingers trembling. It felt strange, alien, yet there was a certain raw beauty to it. As she stood up, the ceremonial plate with her severed braid was taken to the temple as an offering. Amara followed, her bare head gleaming in the sunlight, drawing curious and admiring glances from the villagers. Later, as she prepared for her wedding ceremony, she sat in her room, dressed in an ornate red sari. Her smooth scalp was adorned with intricate henna patterns, and her jewelry sparkled under the lamplight. She stared at her reflection, wondering how Ravi, her fiancé, would react. When she walked into the mandip, the entire crowd turned to look at her. Ravi's expression was unreadable at first, but as she approached him, a warm smile spread across his face. "You look stunning," he whispered, taking her hand. But just as the priest began chanting the mantras, the unexpected happened. Ravi stood up suddenly, addressing the crowd. "Amara has sacrificed her hair today as part of this tradition. But why must she be the only one to let go of something so dear? Shouldn't I, too, start this journey with the same spirit?" Before anyone could react, Ravi reached for the barber's razor. He handed it to the barber and sat on the same stool where Amara had been moments ago. "Shave my head," he declared. Gasps echoed through the crowd, and the priest tried to protest, but Ravi was resolute. "If Amara can make this sacrifice, so can I. Let us begin this life together as equals." The barber hesitated for a moment, then began shaving Ravi's head. Amara watched, stunned and overwhelmed. With each stroke of the razor, her heart swelled with emotion. When Ravi stood up, his head completely shaved, he turned to Amara. "Now, we are truly united," he said, his voice steady. The crowd erupted into cheers, and Amara felt a surge of pride and love for the man she was about to marry. In that moment, she realized that her head shave, once a symbol of sacrifice, had become a powerful testament to equality, love, and shared commitment.